So I am 28 years old, from Emporia, Virginia, or grew up in Emporia, Virginia. Come from a very close-knit family. So I'm the oldest of three. I'm the oldest grandchild of like six. So it's kind of in my nature to be a little bossy, leaderful, I like to say. Family says that I can be bossy. I say, no, you're not bossy when you're the boss, right? Yeah. So come from a big family. Everybody has fun together, a lot of laughter, a lot of love. And I've always been taught to do what I want to do. I have a very strong-headed mother, very assertive. She does what she wants to do. She is the epitome of strength to me. And so she has taught me, actually just watching her example has taught me to do whatever it is that I want to do. Sometimes to a fault for both of us, but I remember as early on as being a kid, she would always just say, I can see you being in someone's boardroom. I can see you speaking over people and doing things on TV and all these things. She was like, whatever you're going to do, you're going to be great. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be great. And so she always used to think that I would be, they used to tell me to be a lawyer. They said, you're going to be a lawyer because you like to argue, you like to debate, you're never wrong. I was like, this is true. But as I got older, I was like, well, what is it that I want to do? I don't really want to be in marketing, in these boardrooms and things like that. And so I remember 10th grade, I had my first psychology course. And when I was in that class, I was like, yeah, that's what I need to do. I was introduced to social work. Social work is a great balance between psychology and including that into the environment. So went to graduate school for social work and loved it. Got out of school and I realized I still don't want to go the path the way the world says to go. So I was like, yeah, I want to be a therapist. I love to help people. I love people in general, but I don't want to become licensed. I don't want to go this track in this direction of what I'm supposed to do. And so after time of being obedient, God said, I have my own path for you. And if you want it, come get it. And so here I am. Last August, I made up in my mind with God's blessing that I would let go of corporate America and pursue my business full time. So 2019 was the first full year of which Golden Affirmation was the one and only focus of my attention. I see life in the lens of art. I like the fact that art allows us to express ourselves in ways that may not be with words. And so whether it's visual arts, performing arts, or anything in between, I love the fact that when you can create something, you don't have to just use words. You don't have to talk about how you feel or talk about what you think. You can create something that will show the world exactly what you feel. And it actually gives people the ability to look into your life from a lens that isn't just words. They get to see how you feel and how you think using color, shapes, music, sound, movement. I'm definitely a creator. My podcast is titled Ashley Affirms. And it's a podcast that is connected to Golden Affirmations, but I wanted to do my podcast on my own personal platform. I wanted Ashley Affirms to stand alone because although I may be a business owner in one sense, I'm an entrepreneur and a therapist, I'm also a person. Like you said, we're here talking about creating in general, and I don't ever want to be in a box. And so if I labeled all of my things to go under Golden Affirmations, then everything has to have the stance of therapeutic box. Ashley Affirms is definitely therapeutic, and it helps encourage and heals, and it has weekly affirmations and such, but it really comes from the creator. It is a platform where I can just share my life with people, not from the lens of a therapist, not from the lens of a business owner, but more so just as a person, another creator, a child of God who wants to inspire the world. So I'm excited that I finally got that content out, because you know how hard it is to create content sometimes and have the confidence to actually push it out once you do have the idea. My brain went, because there's so many things that inspire me. Well, first thing is God. Literally, like every idea that I've had, it's been the most random times. I'll be laying in bed, 3 o'clock in the morning, things just pop up and I'll just have inspiration out of nowhere. And I attribute that all to God. A lot of it is personal characteristics. So I love to dance, I love to sing, I love speaking clearly, and all of these things. But the inspiration to create content and what needs to be said to the world actually comes from God. I'm inspired by my family. My family taught me love in the earliest sense of just acceptance and being yourself and being pure at heart and going hard and doing the best you can at all times. So my family is very inspirational to me. I'm inspired by my rebellion. I'm inspired by the fact that I don't like the idea that someone can tell me how I'm supposed to spend 8 to 10 hours a day. So when it comes to why I created Golden Affirmations, aside from God saying, you need to create Golden Affirmations, I also just knew that I had so much more to offer than what is within corporate settings. I had so much more to say outside of one population. I had so much more to give outside of these hours in this location, in this office. I wanted the flexibility and the freedom to do what it is that I needed to do whenever God told me to do it. And so knowing that Golden Affirmations needed to be created, not just for other people, but just as a testament also to my obedience, and just making sure that I have the freedom to move and do whatever it is that God would have me to do. I left corporate because I was being obedient. I actually, again, enjoyed what I did, but I knew that in order to grow and become more and to give more, I want my life to have more meaning. I don't want to wake up at 30, 40, 50, 60 and say, I had all these things I wanted to do, all this creation that I wanted, but after work, I went home because I was tired and I did this for 5 days throughout the week. I decided that in order to live my best life, it would have to be without reins. And the best way to live in freedom is to do whatever it is that I was told to do. Ashley Firms has a podcast. One of my episodes was about obedience being better than sacrifice. And I just went into how much we oftentimes try to make in our minds decisions about why something works better and why something shouldn't, and why we should stay in this place because we're comfortable. But at the end of the day, if God gave you a command to do, then the most important thing you need to do is not justify or give him more, find more ways to do this around what he said. It's more important to just do exactly what he said. And so for me, my test has been to continue to be obedient. Leaving my job was definitely an act of obedience because I was leaving a salary, I was leaving stability, I was leaving certain benefits and things of that nature. And when it came down to it, I really said, God, if you want me to do this, bless my business. If you bless my business and show me that it can work, I will let go of corporate. And he showed me. And so at that point, he was gonna call my bluff if I didn't say, okay, he showed me that it can work, so I have to leave now. I'm so glad I didn't sacrifice his plan and his goal and the things that he wanted from me just for the sake of my seemingly comfortable life, which wasn't comfortable because I was still craving to create. I was still craving something more. So I'm so glad that I was obedient and I chose that route because now I see the fruit of my labor. And I don't even know where I would be. I don't know how I could maintain if I was still in that space because I would have been sitting there on all of this creation, all of this vision, just for the sake of comfort. And it's not even comfortable because every day I strive and I desire something more. So obedience is always going to be better than sacrifice. It's always going to trump it. And at this point, until the day I die, I'm going to be preaching from the mountaintops about obedience. Because your provision is within God's plan. If you follow his plan, there's provision. And if you disobey, you don't have provision. So I don't know what to tell you, but as far as me and my house, we're going to obey. Because I know that everything that I could ever want and more is on the other side of my obedience. The main challenge that I have, and I think most creators have it, is my self-criticism, self against self. Self against self is the biggest challenge I've had because when I'm working corporate or when I'm doing other things, I've always been like the straight A student, the overachiever, I'm that person. And so when I'm in a structured environment, it's okay. I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. I know how to excel. I know how to reach to the next level. When you are creating something, there's no blueprint for it. It's literally just you having inspiration because of something and creating it. Now, you might have other people that have done similar things, and so you can kind of follow them or see what they did and make it work for you. But either way, every creator is challenged with self-criticism. Every creator thinks, is this good enough? Or if I'm putting this out, I'm sharing my world, my vulnerabilities with everyone. Will it be received well? Will I regret sharing this with the world? And so all of these thoughts in your mind. And so if you want to go spiritual, that's Satan. If you want to go naturally, it's self. Because then you have social media and comparison stuff that messes everything up. Seeing other people do things that you aspire to do, or having people on social media say, if you want to do this, this, and this, you need to do X, Y, and Z, and then you're going to get there. Not realizing that everybody's path is different and that doesn't work for everyone. And so then you get overwhelmed by all the data that you're intaking, all comparison, and all the looking at other people and all these things. And so having to shut it out. My biggest challenge has been to shut out distractions and things that aren't going to benefit me in the season and build myself up. Now, I am one that loves myself. I ain't gonna lie. And confidence isn't typically an issue. But like I said, every creator has insecurities about what they're putting out. Will people like it? Will it disappoint me because it's less than what I might normally offer? But getting past those thoughts and ideas, then I go back to no. You're pretty dope, okay? God created you beautifully, wonderfully, fearfully, wonderfully made. And so I refuse to allow negative thoughts and Satan and other people to tell me how I'm supposed to live my life. And so every time I get into those spaces, I get back out and say, but what did God say do? But what does God say do? Because if he told me to do it, then I know that I'm equipped with everything I need to do it. So I have to get out of my way. And I'm constantly, every day, making a choice to get out of the way. Get out of the way. If you wake up and you don't feel like it, get out of the way. If you wake up and you feel as though your words don't sound good today, get out of the way. Say them anyway. There are plenty of days where I was recording a podcast and I was like, I don't sound motivating enough, or my voice sounds too soothing, because I've heard that I have a great soothing voice. But I was like, I want to inspire people. And then people are like, actually chill out. Like, it's a good soothing. We're calm, we're listening, but me overanalyzing small details, it's like, put it out, put the content out. And everyone is giving me amazing feedback on the podcast. Even starting a business. Can I start a business? Can I literally quit my job and create income by doing something that God told me to do? Can I do it? And so getting out of the way and saying, you know what, whether I can or can't, I'm gonna do it. And then being here a year later, not having any issues, haven't skipped a beat. My life hasn't changed much at all. And so realizing I gotta get out of my way. Every day I wake up and I choose peace, love, joy. And then the way to get all those things is to get out of the way. The biggest challenge is being in the way, because that actually is the umbrella for everything. I could say the challenge is money. And if my challenge is income, then get out of the way. I'm a photographer, I'm a dancer, I'm a singer, I do everything. Go make some money. Like if income is an issue, go make money. And I remember reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it was saying that too. It was like, instead of saying, I don't have the money to do this, say, how can I get the money to do this? And so literally get out of the way. If I wake up, that's income. If I wake up and say, oh, I'm not good enough, whatever that might mean, or I'm not equipped enough, then I have to remind myself, well, look at all the things you have done, and you are equipped. And equipped compared to who? You have everything you need, get out of the way, go do it. And every time I push through and go do it, everything works out perfectly. So the goal, literally every day, is to not get in my way. No one else can get in my way like I can get in my way. Get out of the way. And then as soon as you get out of the way, you'll be exhilarated and lifted, because you'll experience that same energy that people are giving you. People are like, you're amazing, you're a queen, black girl magic. I definitely am. And once I get out of the way, I can walk in the fullness of that. Boom. I adore it. to even think that there was a time when my mother or my grandmother wouldn't have had the courage to start a business. There was a time in our history where we were told to go to school and get a good job. And you stay there and then you retire. And that was the lineage. That's the way life goes. You retire, you do whatever for a few years, and then you might die, right? That's the kind of the thing. You get married, you have kids, you work a job for thousands of years. You stay there because stability, job stability is a thing. And at some point in our history, it was a thing. We couldn't get certain jobs. We didn't have certain opportunities. So to be able to obtain a corporate job or to be able to get these opportunities was something you hold on to. Fast forwarding to now, being in a time where I can literally breathe, wake up and say, I'm gonna do this, and the world, everything is brought to me. Clients are brought to me. There's no issue with marketing. Social media has made everything so much easier. Being able to have a podcast platform, all these things. We used to just have TV shows, Oprah, Ricky Lake, like things like random shows. And that was the only means. People weren't into podcasting and all that. And so now to be able to be living and be young in a time where everyone's using social media and technology and advancement of opportunities, I'm excited. I see a wide variety of clients. I have young, old, married, single. I have black, white, races. I have Christians. I have Buddhists. I have everything you can imagine. And I'm honored to be a person of color, a black woman specifically in this field, because even some of my clients who are not people of color, they all have said, it feels so good to speak to you. And even speaking about white therapists or other people, nothing against them, but just the fact that the field, and historically, traditionally, it's been a white person that is taking care of mental health needs. And so to be able to be a young therapist is another thing, because everyone expects you to be older because you're wiser as you're older and things like that. But to be trusted as a young adult that can still provide a therapeutic service, and people are healing because of me despite my age. To be a woman, I have men clients, so men feeling comfortable coming to a black woman to be able to speak to them about mental health. That's exciting too. To be a Christian woman and knowing that there are Buddhists and other people that may not even believe in God, but they still want to come to me to speak to me. And if I'm the only experience of God that they might have, then I'm honored to have that too. But just being able to be who I am unapologetically. I don't need to have relaxed hair. I don't need to be this size. I don't need to have these licenses and things to support what God already told me to do. But being in this time, the advancement of technology and the way our world is right now has made it that much easier for me to do what I've been called to do. Trust yourself, and trust yourself with the caveat that God is within you. So if you trust yourself and you're in alignment with God, then you're trusting God within you. Okay. Don't trust yourself if you're out here being reckless. Then you might need some accountability. We talk about that. But in a general sense, trust yourself. If you have a inclination, like a desire, there's a population of people that just pulls on your heartstrings every time. Or there's a commercial that comes on and every time you see a puppy, your heart just melts. Maybe perhaps purpose is somewhere around there. Like literally just trust yourself. As soon as you wake up and you have dreams about this and you have talents and gifts that relate to this thing, trust it. And literally your gifts and your talents and your life makes room for whatever it is that you're supposed to do. Trust it. Go with the flow. It's not that deep. Whatever it is that you're overthinking, overanalyzing, over-obsessing about, it probably isn't that deep. Oftentimes it can be a very serious situation, but the worst that we can imagine it, like for some reason human nature is to think of the worst case scenario. And there's a high likelihood that it doesn't happen that way. Honestly, we don't know what God's plan is anyway. So instead of wasting time and energy stressing about something when stress doesn't change anything, it's better to just chill out. Don't take it so seriously. And that's life, that's business, that's find time to breathe, to have peace, to relax, and everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to. What I would inspire or leave with someone, just do it. Whatever you want to do, just do it. While you're sitting here thinking about all the things you want, someone's out there doing it. And then you're going to be upset when other people are doing the exact thing that you want to do. And then you start to think, why are they doing this? And why couldn't I have done that? Or I wish I could have done that. But you could have. The difference between you and all the other people doing similar things is the fact that they did it. Just do it. Another part of this is just loving yourself. And the better you are about learning yourself and loving yourself, figuring out your purpose and doing your work, like I always say, the better you are at that, the better you can gauge life's path and the direction you're supposed to go. If you're disconnected with yourself and you're out here in the world trying to do things because it appeases the world and it looks good because everyone's doing it, or you're following the fad and things like that, it might last you for a little while, but the energy is going to go away. And then what are you left with? You're always going to be left with the things God put in you to begin with. And so just stay there. Trust that. Develop those gifts. Heal yourself, because in the midst of having purpose, life smacks you. So breakups and family stuff and sicknesses and things and all those things get in the way. And it's important to just keep healing so that those life circumstances don't taint what you're here for. Also, I always tell people, I ran about Job. Oh God, Job. And I just ran about how he was a good man and he didn't do anything wrong, and here are all the trials of life coming. And I don't even go into all the chapters of his depression and all that stuff. It's more about the first chapter when Satan goes to God and he says, can I tempt him? First he asked for permission, and the fact that Satan has to ask permission also should make us feel better, because he can't do anything outside of God's permission. And God won't allow him to do anything that he doesn't know we're equipped to handle. A. B, God said you can do X, Y, and Z to him, but you can't kill him. You can't end his life. And so people typically go to the end and say, yay, all this stuff was added back to Job after he endured. And endurance is a big lesson of that. Faith and prayer is a big lesson. But what I heard was just the fact that it's not going to kill you. When you feel invincible because you know who you serve and whose you are, the world can't do anything to you. And the conviction and the sureness that you have, knowing that nothing can take you out without God's permission, should let us know that all the things we fear, we worry about losing jobs and income and relationships and all this stuff, these are things of the world, and none of this is going to take us out. It's going to hurt. It's going to be inconvenient. It's going to make us second guess ourselves, but nothing can end our lives. And if the biggest fear is to die or to not be taken care of, then that scripture alone should remind us that it's not going to take us out. It's not going to feel good, but nothing can destroy us that way. And so I like to remind people, like I said, don't take life so seriously. Like, chill out. It's not going to take you out. It's not going to take you out. And I think about that every day. It's not going to take me out. Get out of my own way, and it's not going to take me out. So I start with myself, because if self isn't healthy and healed, then how can I inspire others? Self-response would be, I was created with purpose, and I was created to motivate and inspire people to live their best lives. Period. That's what I would tell myself. And by me telling myself that, the words that spew out of my mouth, whether they be beauty, love, create, joy, happiness, heal, blessings, whatever I might say, will be what I pour onto other people. So for others, I would tell people to create, motivate, and inspire. Just that. But I would use those words more so for myself, because those things remind me of my position in the world and how I'm supposed to walk as a creator and as someone created to inspire people to live better lives. And in the midst of me living my life in a better manner, others will be inspired by that alone, and we all will be doing the same thing.